In this short film, Debbie shares some of the learning about her volunteer experience at London 2012 Games.
Hi, I'm Debbie Thornton. I volunteer at Community Action Derby, and I'm going to talk today about my volunteering experience recently at the London 2012 Games at the Paralympics.
How did you get involved in the London 2012 Games?
When the Olympics were announced that they were successfully going to go to London in 2007, I was really excited about it. I thought it would be great to be part of it. This was before I knew that they were going to be recruiting volunteers. I was aware that other games had volunteers, but I wasn't sure how they were going to be involved in the London one. I applied to go to the Aquatic Centre because I'm quite a keen swimmer.
How was the application process?
I applied October 2010 and then I got an interview the following year. And I was actually on a volunteer project out of the country at that point, so I couldn't actually go physically to the interview. So I was really upset and thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to go do it. But they very kindly let me do a Skype interview, which was great. The whole procedure, the application was quite long and it did take quite a while to do. I would say it probably took about 3/4 of an hour to sit there to actually fill it in online. Luckily, I was, with being a volunteer already, I was aware of what some of the questions were going to be. So I had a good idea of what to put in the application. I think that helped quite a lot that I'd already been a volunteer. But it was still quite a long process.
What role were you assigned and what were your main duties?
When people were given their actual roles and their timescales, they were then given the opportunity to change their mind. So there was like a cooling off period. So I think probably they allocated the first lot and then waited to see people's reactions, whether people could actually then, they've said they could in 2010, but is that still the case now? Because obviously, a lapse of time, people might not be able to do it. I was asked if I wanted to be, initially, if I wanted to be an event services team leader, and that just seemed like a lot of work, which sounds awful, but I thought that just seems a bit, no. I wanted to be part of the team, and I just wanted to be there as part of the team. I was happy to take responsibility as and when for the roles that I did, but I wasn't happy taking responsibility for a team. And now I realise how much hard work they had to do. I'm quite pleased I didn't do that. I think it just added a level of stress to the role that I wasn't really, it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be there as part of it, and basically it was part of event services team member, which basically meant that we were there to meet and greet anybody that came onto there was part where they called the field of play, which was obviously the pool side. So anything that was on the pool side was the field of play. So anywhere else, so whether you greeted anybody onto the site at all, they greeted them with happy, enthusiastic, positive and helpful, and that you were all of those things all the time. But you're also a point of if something goes wrong. So if something goes wrong on the site where we have to evacuate, that we knew exactly where to lead people, and that we were obviously the last people off. What? So we're the last people off the site. Great. We wanted to make sure that every single person that came onto that, into the Aquatic Centre, was happy, and that it was the best experience they could ever have, and that that they would get the same feeling of excitement and enthusiasm that we got the very first time that we walked into the Aquatic Centre.
What have you learned?
But being in this uniform, with my big cheesy grin at that stupid time in the morning, that you actually get smiles and people talk to you and they're interested and genuinely interested.
Were there any negatives?
They could have put us up accommodation. They could have paid for accommodation there, maybe in student residences or something like that. That would have made it a lot easier for people outside of London to be involved in the process.
How can people who may have wanted to be part of London 2012 Games get involved in volunteering?
So I had people saying, oh, I wish I'd volunteered, I wish I'd applied. I say, well, Glasgow, Commonwealth Games 2014, it's obviously north, not in London, in north. So you stand more chance to be able to go for it, do it. I'm hoping as well that the legacy of the Games will enthuse lots of people to get involved in it, regardless of what kind of volunteering it is, and realise that even doing something so small can make a massive difference. So I'll be chuffed a bit. But I have been asked by a lot of people, how to get involved in different volunteering events. And I have just, if they want to get in sports, one, the next big one is the Commonwealth Games. But there are other, local events. So it's not just about the big events. There are lots of local where you can make a small difference as well.